Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where last episode we pretty much finalized our solution to the flooding problem, and it's absolutely working, so that is great. It's a little hard to see up over here. Actually, I want to try rotating the camera and seeing... Yeah, that still is basically impossible to see from other angles as well. Okay, well... we'll see what happens as those actually get finished. There's definitely a little bit of bugginess with the way that those canals appear. I really like how it only shows one side of it over here. I wonder if that's a bug. I kind of think that's intended behavior because of how it affects the floods, though. So if that's the case, that's cool, but up here, it's not really showing up the way it's supposed to, and I think that would be a bug. So that's fine, and as we can see here, we have an excess of working age adults. However, we also have some lack of people working in some of these places here. And I'm thinking that's probably due not to the fact that we need more workers, but that we have a dearth of housing around here. No, that's not the case. We definitely have a fair amount of housing up here, and a lot of housing available over here. So that is not the case at all. We just need to let this proceed for a little bit. So we've got this shrine here that's going to finish up soon enough. That looks good. And we can look at our prosperity, culture, might, prestige, and population. For the moment, that all looks absolutely fine. Now we're working on getting a bunch of this over here built up. This border yard is actually kind of a high priority. We'll need to get that done for sure. But for now, that looks okay. Once all of this gets finished, I expect to see our culture in particular and our might kind of shoot through the roof, because we do have these two barracks in here and we have all of these temples in here. That'll be very, very useful. So that looks good. And at this moment, the question is, what are we doing? Is there any major project that we have right now other than just waiting for this to finish? I mean, there's definitely a lot more space in our noble district here, but we're kind of just waiting for that to finish. Some of our health venues are overcrowded. Okay, so we know that this alcove is strained, which is the purpose of this alcove. That still needs artwork, which that should get dealt with once these mason yards get caught up with their repairs. There was a lot of damage that was dealt out over this way from the flooding, and once that gets repaired up, it should be fine. So they should start focusing more on making artwork at that point. This dentist needs herbs. I mean, we do have herb gardens, but I don't know that we have sufficient herbs coming in. That's a lot of turkeys using our roads. Why are these turkeys using the roads? Okay. Where are they going? Oh, they're going up this way. They're allegedly wandering, but that looks like they've got some purpose to them there. Okay, now they're exiting the road system. Now they're looking more like they're doing something, you know, animal-like. I don't know, that looked a lot like the way that people move in this game. It probably is the same thing, to be honest. Probably the exact same code. So at this point, we know that we just got some upgrades going over here, and that's good. I just saw those get constructed. Our population is at 3980, so we don't really need to expand our population at this moment. So prestige needs to come up, and prestige is mostly a factor of everything else. Prosperity, culture, might, and population. So that's fine. We can let that come up. Our might is absolutely going to be a big section of this. But culture, that's going to be big. And prosperity, that's not going to be much of a problem either, I don't think. We should be able to get that done very, very easily here. We've got so much axe monies at this moment, and I'm not too concerned about prosperity. We have a lot of upgraded houses over here. We do need to get the noble houses out over here actually built. That'd be a good thing. But a lot of our resources are going into this great temple, and I don't know what resources we need for this, but we are over half done with it. We can see that this temple up here is getting close to done. This temple down here is a ways from being done, as is this one. But we need a lot of stone up over this direction, and that's fine. We're just going to continue to slowly import the stone. So this shrine over here needs artwork, and this shrine up here also needs artwork. That's basically just our mason yards. They need to finish their construction and start actually producing artwork. We're doing some here, so that looks good. But a lot of this also is due to our shortage of stone. We don't have a lot of stone, although we do have some in this porter yard, which is kind of shocking. Okay, most of our stone is going here, and that's not surprising at all. So that all looks good for now, and this gardener has nowhere to deliver their herbs. But this one does? No, they don't. Okay, so they have nowhere to deliver their herbs, so that means we can't take herbs via porter yard. So that means that they have to be local. Okay, well, we can certainly consider putting in a dentist somewhere down over, like, here and on both sides. So that'll be able to grab from those gardeners. So we'll get those in there, and at least we'll have somewhere to put the herbs. We'll also maybe have an herbalist right next to them, or maybe have that be, like, up here. Yeah, I'm going to do that because this is also gardeners here. This gardener needs more gardens to attend to. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get there. For the time being, I'm not going to do that, but we'll get these dentists and herbalists in over here. So that looks good. Consider building a sentry post nearby. We're going to have the barracks here, but we could definitely put in sentry posts. That could be squeezed in here, or we could do it here, and I kind of want to do it there. Perfect. So that'll do for now. And are we working on this noble compound? No, you're working on the Great Temple. Okay. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to have these barracks here, and we don't have any armor production, and we don't have any weapon production. So for armor production, we're going to need salt, and we're going to need cotton, I believe. Is that cotton and salt? Yes, cotton stiffened with salt. So we don't really have all that much for salt at this moment, right? We'd have to import that. So do we have access to salt from any of our existing trading partners? The answer to that is no. So we would need to build an additional trading post somewhere. I'm thinking maybe like right here. This would result in a little bit of removal of forest here, I think. Trading posts are what, 4x4? Yeah. That wouldn't be all that much forest removal. Do it. And then, who do we want to trade with? So this is a capital. We would prefer not to do them. So we've got Texcoco, Chalco, and we've got these guys. Tlatoani? I'm very bad at my Aztec pronunciation. I apologize. That was terrible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into the Empire map, and the question is there anyone out over here who wants to export salt? We've only got a couple of people. So we have to get it from the capital. Yikes. Okay. Well, we have to get salt from the capital, so that means that we go here, and we just want to import salt. We cannot generate salt ourselves, to my knowledge, so we need to import a little bit of it, and that's fine. And then as far as blade nappers go, blade nappers need obsidian, which we're already importing some of for our furniture. We can crank up our import of obsidian a little bit, like so. And we can do like 80 salt. That's fine for now. And then we can do... Where are blade nappers? Blade nappers are obsidian and timber, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, obsidian and timber. So that looks good. We can start getting that going. Do we want that to be part of the Noble District, or do we want that to be out over this way? I think outside of the Noble District for that sort of production. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a road out over this direction, and that's going to be not this size. Hang on. This size, approximately. And then we're going to put in our blade nappers here. Hang on, down over here. So blade nappers are going to go here. I'm just going to do 4 of them. And then out over here, I'm going to do 4 armorers. Like that. And then we can do some housing for that right up over here. And then a porter yard right here is what I'm thinking. So we can do that right there. Perfect. And then housing can go in like this. We do have a little bit of extra space here. We can put in potentially gardens. Are we in range of a gardener here? No, we are not. Well, I don't know exactly what we want to do there. We'll think about it. So this should be getting not cotton buds, but cotton. We should also be getting obsidian and timber and salt. Like that. And then we can accept weapons and armor. Okay, that's absolutely fine. And then we've got this porter yard down here, which is in range of both of these barracks, which can be set to getting weapons and armor. Like that. And that will distribute it to these barracks. Now, we've also got this fortress right here. So my question is, this porter yard here, we can have this be set to getting weapons and armor, like that. Okay, beautiful. So that seems absolutely fine, and we should be able to get that done relatively quickly, I think. Most of this construction is going to be non-stone, so we're going to need clay and timber for most of that, so that should go relatively quickly. Yeah, beautiful. So that'll be good, and then we do have some housing over here, but this housing will definitely be useful for all of this, and that'll be fine. So we'll get that online. That will get all of that going. Some of our health venues are overcrowded. I wish it told us where. We know where we're overcrowded on the alcove, so that lacks service capacity. Sauna does as well, so that's heavy usage on that sauna. Do we have a sauna down over this way? Yes, that's strained. Okay. I'm thinking that we can extend this road out over here. Saunas are, I believe, 3x3, so this will cut a little bit into this patch of woods, but we've got all of this out over here. I'm not too concerned about that. So a sauna would end up going in potentially down here to relieve the strain on this sauna. In theory. And we could maybe put one up over here as well. So that could go about here. Just to serve this area. Or actually, I'm wondering about here. This would be a better position for it because it'll reach all of this up here and all of this over here. And it'll reach a little bit up over here, which this sauna doesn't reach. This one does. Yeah, that's good coverage there. I think that's absolutely fine. So we'll get all of that going. That'll take a little bit of time. And out here, yeah, we can definitely see that this sauna is strained. We'll work on that. This trading post, we're going to pay a lot for this salt. But we don't have an option. This is the only place where we can get this salt. So that'll have to be fine for now. So looking in on our Noble District for right now, we're definitely seeing some progress coming through here. We need a lot of artwork down over this way, and this mason yard is still lacking everything. That's not terribly surprising, because this porter yard hasn't been built. I really wish that we could have a priority construction. That would make things go a lot smoother. We could force it through halting, but I kind of don't want to. So this is fine for now. So we have these homes over here. They need access to a sweeper. There should be a sweeper pretty nearby. There's one up over here. That's a little out of range. Okay, fair enough. So let's put a new sweeper in here. This is going to leave this tile open, so I'm actually going to put it here and put a road tile there. It's not an efficient use of space, but let's do it. I'm wondering now about a well dipper in this area. There's one here and one here. So this well dipper has intensive usage. It does reach all of this. We could maybe cram in a well dipper up over here to help relieve the strain on this one. There's this well dipper here that's also intensive. Okay. So that's definitely noted. Yeah, I think we should do it. So we're going to put another well dipper right up over here. That is unfortunately going to block this road going this way, but that's fine. And it's going to remove a little bit of forest over here, but we've got all of this, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. This might be getting over-chopped a little bit. I'm keeping an eye on it. We don't have any of these that are saying that they are not able to chop at the moment, and these forests just regrew. So that looks good. And then this down over here, this is not over-chopped at all. So that looks fine. Of course, these down over here are needing additional work. This porter yard needs some stone. It has gotten some stone, so that's good. Did we build this guy? Yes, we did. This trading post is now ready to go. So this salt is going to start being imported. All we're importing there is salt. We're not exporting anything there because we don't want to sell things at 50% less cost to the capital. So no exports there. We're only importing what we absolutely have to. And to be honest, I don't think we even need 80 salt here. Let's take that down to 40. So that looks good, and there's no real problem there. I believe we just got this up to the next stage here. So that's looking great. We're definitely making some progress on that Great Temple. No doubt about that. So that looks good, and we can see that this Blade Napper is actually producing. So we have managed to get some obsidian up here. Is that reaching from here? Actually, it is. Not all of these would reach, I don't think. Actually, they kind of would. But regardless, I think having a porter yard here is probably a good idea. So that looks fine for now. We are starting to produce some weapons at this point. And we're also starting to produce some armor in theory if we had cotton and salt up here. But we don't. And we don't get any cotton over here. So that's fine. We have a bunch of cotton up over here and a bunch of cotton over here. So it looks like we're kind of maxing out our cotton exportations at this moment. So it's actually a very good thing, and this collector is strained. It's actually a very, very good thing that we are getting more cotton usage. So we could expand our export of cotton here up to 120, and then our export of cotton here cannot be expanded anymore, but we could cut down on our import of stone. That's noted. I'm going to take this up to 160 cotton at this moment. So that looks fine. This tax collector is strained, and this tax collector is light. So that's fine. We could certainly consider putting a collector somewhere. I would love to put it here, but that just doesn't have room. So that's understood. We would definitely be interested in putting one up over here, and I think here is actually okay. So we can do that and then put a little bit of road there to connect that up. And that'll be able to remove some strain from this collector. So that looks good. Some of our workshops lack clay, cotton, salt. I didn't catch all those. Health venues are overcrowded. Forts need more soldiers, and some of our forts lack supplies. Do you need more soldiers? I'm not sure you do. I think it's talking about these barracks over here. Okay. What resources are we short on right now? Clay, cotton, salt, timber, stone. Buildings need herbs as well. Okay. I'm not terribly surprised about any of that. For the time being, it's okay. Some of our health venues are overcrowded, and I don't know which ones are overcrowded, so that's a little awkward. No doubt about that. It's definitely not anything over here. I can tell you that one. So that's absolutely fine, and we do have a gardener around here somewhere. Where's our gardener here? Here it is. Okay, so that's looking okay. There's an herbalist down over here that is supplied by that. We could cram a dentist in right here, actually. But it requires a scenic neighborhood. And apparently this doesn't count as scenic, despite the small gardens. That's a little sad. Education, out over here. Fair enough. That's absolutely a thing that we could do. Yeah, this is a good spot. So that looks fine. We're a little bit negative on our finances this year. This is probably because we've started importing salt, right? That's my guess. We haven't actually seen it come in over here, and there's nowhere for them to move it except, I suppose, into the armorers. I don't know if they even would at that distance, though. That's a long ways. So probably not, would be my guess. So here goes a caravan of turkeys and also traders. I'm not sure why they're going with the turkeys, but sure. Where are they going? Okay, sure. So this is all relatively fine. We're slowly working through our stone deficit out over here, but we keep having more stone deficit from things that we're building. We just finished up this education service up over here, and that's very, very good. Staff will arrive eventually, but they're not here quite yet. So I'm looking at the number of residents up over here. These are pretty full up at this point, but these homes over here are doing okay still. Down over this direction, these homes are moderate at this moment, so that's noted. This is still overcrowded, but that's because this alcove hasn't gotten its artwork at this time. A Sawyer has caught fire down over here. Okay, that's absolutely okay. We have canals right here, and I don't think they actually use the canals, but we have canals right here to provide water, and they can put this out with relative ease. There's also a well dipper fairly nearby, I think. Where would that well dipper be? There's one up over here. That's definitely within range. Yeah, you're dowsing. Perfect. So that looks good. Some of our masons lack stone, timber, and clay. So that's not necessarily shocking, although we do have a lot of timber on hand, and we have a decent amount of clay as well. So we just need to make sure that that is being distributed out to these masons, and it should be. I'm just looking at all of these. I think it's these masons over here, to be honest. So I think it's this one. Yeah, that's just because this porter yard hasn't been built. That'll get done eventually. So that's absolutely fine. I'm not in any particular rush on that one. We are working very hard on this great temple. That's a lot of people working on that. Okay. Well, we need to get it done eventually, so that seems fine. But I'd like it if we'd get the artwork up over here. But again, this is all... We have infinite access to those resources. This is a lot of deficit, but we will slowly work our way through that deficit. Every building that we get finished over here is progress. And that's phenomenal. There's a lot of stone that we need. An awful lot of stone out over this direction. Most of this is just needing artwork, but this still needs 411 stone. 500 stone here. 393 stone. It's a lot. You can see we've got 35 stone right now. We're working on it, importing it, but it gets used up as soon as we import it. That's okay. Have we managed to get any salt over here yet? That's a negative. Okay. We have gotten this porter yard to have obsidian in it. That's a good sign. There's no cotton in here yet. So that's noted. We're at 119 out of 120 cotton. This is at 160 out of 160 cotton. So our cotton production is continuing to go nicely. I'm just wondering if we have any cotton producers here that are not able to deliver because there's nowhere that can hold their goods. That doesn't appear to be the case at this moment. So that's good to know. Even though our storage up over here is pretty full. I'm not going to lie. So you can see our prosperity is up to, well, just dipped down to 38 out of 55, but everything's looking good on that front. I want to check in, did we ever re-raise our wages? We did. Let's take our taxes down to 0. There we go. Which kind of makes me wonder what our tax collectors are going to be doing, but, you know, I'm sure it's fine. So that's all looking good. We're making solid progress on this area over here, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to definitely see about getting our weapons and armor produced and supplied up to this fortress, and that should be absolutely great. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.